Hey, what's up? Welcome to For the Love of Creating. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to teach you how to paint this snowy cabin in the woods. Okay, for today's tutorial, you need an 11 by 14 inch canvas. We've got titanium white, ivory black, burnt umber, orange, cadmium yellow, sap green, and cerulean blue. And this painting we're actually going to build from the back to the front. And so we're going to start with this back space here and then kind of come this way. So the only things I have drawn in is just kind of where our house is going to be, our little cabin in the woods. And then the line of the horizon where our snow meets our kind of foresty background. So first thing we want to do is kind of get this sky color blocked in. And we just kind of want to do like a triangle right here. And then the rest of that space, and we'll actually probably pull it all the way over so that we can then start building our layers of trees coming forward. So to make that core base back color, we want to start with some of our cerulean blue. And we want to mix that in with some of our orange. And this is kind of going to give us like a gray color. And we just want it to be slightly more on the blue side than brown side. Color's looking pretty good. Pretty good to me. All right, and then when you get the right hue and you really like it because it looks more blue than orange, but it has that kind of mix of those colors, we want to come in with some of our white. And we just want to lighten it up. And so this is going to be our distant kind of gray blue backdrop where you actually, distance makes you lose the saturation. So that's what the white has done, is it has taken some of the saturation out. So that is the color where we are going to start. And so with this color created, I'm going to grab my wash brush. And go ahead and just get some water on your brush. Get any excess off. And we're just gonna take this color and kind of fill in this back space up here. And you know what, I'm actually gonna get a little bit more water just to let this color stretch a little bit further. Okay. So we want this to kind of start about 2 inches in. And we want this color to go, this is a background color, right? So then we want to have this come all the way up. And then we're going to have some more of it kind of over here. So we want to color all of that in. Make sure we're getting every part of the canvas with this pretty color. And then because we're at the top of our canvas, just go ahead and finish that top piece up here, and you'll do the whole thing up there. Okay. And we are definitely going to layer on top of this, but that looks pretty good for now. And actually, why don't you just go ahead and take it all the way across. We're gonna let that dry while we work on some of this other stuff coming forward. Okay, so go ahead and wash off that brush. And we're gonna block in the undertone colors of our cabin. So we wanna get a nice brown, so we're gonna start with our burnt umber color. And this is just our base, so it's not like we're adding too much. You want a little bit of water on your brush, not a ton. Grab that burnt umber. And we are just blocking in using that same brush. Now, snow is going to be on the top of our cabin, so we don't really need to worry about that being brown, but we do want to block in the rest. So there is all of that space. So we'll get our chimney, and then we just want to make sure that the rest of this cabin is filled in for our under painting. Make sure everything is nice and smooth. Our door is going to be brown also, so we'll just go right over top of that. Leaving a little bit of room for our, so we know where everything is. Okay, so you can still see where our windows are going to be. But we've got our base blocked in. That looks pretty good. And then we do kind of have this under the hood here. So we'll go ahead and fill just a little bit of that in too. Okay, go ahead and wash off your brush. And now the next step is we're actually going to block in a lot of this white here that's going to be our snow. So we have a few different colors kind of going on because we have the light from the cabin, and then we have the light from kind of in the background where the shadow is. So we first want to come in and make a really good color. So we're going to start with white and our Cerulean Blue. And we're just gonna get our lightest colors that we wanna work with so we can build them out in either direction. So this is obviously very bright, very, very bright. So we're gonna add in just a little bit of the black just to tone it down a little bit. And this will become our shadow color that we see in the back. Grab some more of that Cerulean Blue. Pretty good shadow so far. And we want just a little bit more black. Where there is an absence of light, right? It's our shadow. And because there's an absence of light, the black kind of like takes some of that color out. So we definitely want it to be dark, but we want it to be lighter than our sky, because it is snow, right? So our snow is white, but it's looking like that blue on our painting. So that color looks pretty good. I like that color for our shadows. And so I'm just gonna block in all of the shadows. So while we're still working on bigger sections, I'm gonna keep using this wash brush and just kind of block it in. So we know that back here, this is all shadow. All of that is going to be shadow in the background up until we kind of get closer to the house. And so around here is where it's we're gonna get the light coming in. And so our colors are gonna change in this area down here. And then we have some more shadows kind of behind the house and to the side where, you know, we're getting light coming from this one, but we don't want to get too much. And then we got a little bit in the background over here, kind of going up. And then we've got some more shadows kind of fading to this front area here. So go ahead and take that, make sure you fill it in. And again, we're just kind of blocking in where everything is going to be. All right, that feels pretty good. And so we're going to come back to that color, but before we do, we want to make sure that we're coming in with all of the colors of the snow that are in here. So we actually, because the color coming through the window is really like this pretty yellow color, so we want to get a very, very, very light yellow. So a lot of white, just a little pinch of that yellow. Very, very light. So this would be like our brightest part of the yellow in the snow. And then we want to take some of that and we want to add even more white to it so it's even lighter. And then to that very light color, I want to take some of that over here, and we're going to add a very tiny bit of orange to that. Which will then just fade into our white. Okay, so now to build this out, go ahead and rinse off your wash brush if you haven't already. And go ahead and clean it off. We want to pick up white first, and around our blue, we want to make sure that we fill it in with white before we come in with these other colors. So we're gonna fade it and blend it all together, but we just want to make sure that white is our base, and it can be chunky to start out with. And we just want to make sure we get that all the way around. Okay. Okay, fill that in. Okay. That white's feeling pretty good so far. And then we just want to come in with all of these other colors. So starting, you don't have to clean off your brush. You're going to pick up our darkest yellow, and this is going to come right underneath kind of where the yellow would be coming out of the house. So we've got this window here, and then we've got these other windows on either side. And it's kind of like the harshest part of that yellow light. Get any excess off of your brush, and then we're coming in around the edges of it, and you just want to fill in with a little bit lighter, the lighter one, just around the edges. then we're gonna go in with that pretty orange color we made, and we're gonna kind of hit the outside of all of that. And then if you've run out of white, I have, go ahead and get some more on your palette. And we're gonna use that white to blend everything out. So just kind of meeting everything at the edge here. Letting that all blend out. We want it to be nice and soft. Blending all the way down to the house. Make sure you're getting off any extra paint as you're going. And again, just blending, letting those kind of fade together. So now we have this really pretty gradient that we can work with. A good kind of base to start building out everything else. And so the next thing that we want to do is this blue that we were using earlier, we want to cut it with some more white so that we have a lighter blue for some snow. Go ahead and rinse off your brush if you haven't. And we are going to go in with a flat brush. And we're gonna kind of block in where some of these shadows would be with this color here. So we do want to kind of transition into this lighter color from the dark blue. And it's also, we can definitely go over it in the back because it's getting really dark really fast. So you can just kind of build on top of it. So you can see like already it's giving it a better gradient. We want to do the same on this foreground we have here because this is a little too harsh, so we'll just build it in. And you want to make sure that wherever you are adding in these colors, you don't want to mix the blue and the yellow because you're going to get green. You're going to get green. Okay. Let that kind of fade off. And a lot of this side stuff is going to get covered, but it's good to just kind of have it blocked in just for knowing where everything is. And then in this situation, we have an actual pathway that's kind of leading up to the house. So we kind of want to block in some of that. So in this foreground here, we want to kind of create this little edge where maybe some tires or some footprints or something have come in. And it's kind of crossing over this way. You know, these are like our shadows. And then we've got maybe some mounds. So we'll take this. We got some mounds of snow. So this is like the shadow portion of that. Going all the way up to the door. And so we also have, our door is going to be about here. So I want to think about maybe adding in some steps. So those are some shadows on the steps. can add in some little bumps and lumps on this side, over here. Maybe we've got some footsteps kind of going up to the door. Got little, these guys. Just a good place to start. Maybe we got some shadowy things going on in here. There's some other paths kind of cutting that way. Okay, very nice. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we have the snow on the roof that we need to block in. And so we want the snow on the roof to be like, not this yellowy color. We definitely want it to be like the blue, so we want to just mix a little bit more of that blue and white to kind of find a middle ground, and that will be the snow on top of the roof here. That sky's hitting it a little harder. We don't want to forget coming down on the other side here. Got snow on this side too. A little bit maybe on the top of our roof. Okay, go ahead and rinse off your brush. And we are going to come back to this background color we were working with before. Actually, while we have this yellow belt, we're going to do a darker yellow on top of it, but we're going to go ahead and block in using that same brush. We're just going to block in our windows with this yellow, and we will build those out as we're going. Off to a good start. Okay, now rinse off that brush. And we're gonna go back to this color we have in the sky again. And so we got that color by mixing our blue and our orange. So we're gonna go back to that same color profile. There's some Cerulean Blue and our orange, mix that together. More of the Cerulean Blue in there. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. So we want to take this color and we want to take half of it, set it to the side, and the other half we will leave to do our next step. So we want to get a little bit more of this white and add it to get that nice light color again. Just a little bit more. That's looking pretty good. So you can see that contrast. So that's where we're going next, is these two colors. So we want to take this light color first. We're going to pick up our wash brush again, and we're going to go over that same area we did before. And this is just our second coat, and it's going to be a little bit lighter. And your acrylic paint should be dry by now, but this is just kind of giving it some texture in the background. You can see it's a little bit more gray, kind of giving us that wintry feel. Okay, and you don't want to take it all the way to the edge in this situation. You actually want to leave, because this space up here is where we're going to come in with all of the rest of our trees. So just a little bit on this side, and then let it be. Let it be. Okay, so go ahead and wash out your brush. And the next step, we're going to go back to our flat brush again, and we are going to block in some trees that are off in the distance with that dark color that we just made. So these are just kind of going to fall into the background. So we want a few of them. I'm thinking maybe right there. Right here. Maybe another guy over here. And then I'd like maybe one or two over here. All right, those spaces all feel pretty good to me. And then I also want to start thinking about how this background over here is going to be. So we're going to do a big tree right here, but we're going to have a couple trees in the background. So we want to make sure that we're filling those in too while we're going. So those trees are probably going to be maybe here. Get a guy going on here. Maybe another one over here. Okay. So once you've kind of blocked those in, I'm like, that's generally where I'd like them to be. And then we're going all the way up to here, having this kind of blocked in all the way. Okay. So to make these trees, you're going to take your flat brush, get some paint right on the edge of it. And we're doing the classic back and forth kind of lick to give us our tree shape. So something like this. Just back and forth. And so you can kind of use the corner of your brush when you're up in those smaller parts of the tree. And then you can just kind of bring it down as you're going. And then we're going to go in with a third layer. So you'll notice I'm not actually bringing down the trees all the way. We're going to stop because we're going to have some bigger trees in front of them, kind of blocking this space. So this color is gonna come all the way down to the house though, so I'm just gonna block in this section here with this color. And then we will have some more trees over here, but I do want to bring this color down to this section. And then we are going to have some trees kind of here, but I want to make sure that if we have that our trees that we start in this area, we're not missing any part of the canvas. So I'm just going to bring this down a little bit further, and that should kind of cover what we're doing. So you just want to go back and forth, and again, start with the corner of the brush, and then you just want to kind of build them out from there. And we're going to be using the same technique for our next layers of trees too. Let's see, I'm going to make this guy a little taller. And this guy too. Just take this color. So you can kind of see where our background is really coming together. So let's go ahead and fill in these trees over here too, using just the corner of the brush, going back and forth, and then switching. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is build in the color of the next closest tree. So we're in the same color profiles, but we're starting to get some more color on our actual tree. So this is kind of like the middle layer, and then we're going to have our close layer where you start to see the snow and all the other stuff that's kind of going on there. So before we get to that layer though, we need to have this middle layer. And so we're going to be starting with the same color scheme, and we're mixing together. I need a little bit more blue. So again, we're starting with our Cerulean Blue and our orange, but now we're going to use more blue, less orange. That way it's a brighter blue because we're getting closer and we're not losing as much color. So it's basically like a more saturated blue. You can already see the difference here. And because these are evergreens, we're gonna add just a very small pinch of green to start bringing in those green colors and transitioning from the blue to the green. So just a very little bit of our sap green, very little bit of sap green. What a pretty color. Oh my goodness, I love that color. Okay, so this is our next layer, getting closer to our foreground. And so you're gonna grab that same flat brush, and we're gonna build in some of our closer trees. So we won't do a whole bunch in this realm. We just need a couple. So let's get one around here. We'll do one right there. And I'd like to do one over here, so right behind our cabin. And this might be the other world of color, but I'll just go ahead and block this guy in too, just as an option. We can always go over if it's not the color we're looking for later. And then I'm thinking I'd like to do a few on this side, so we'll do like one here, maybe one right here, and then just one more like right there. Yeah, that feels good to me. All right, and then you're just gonna take your brush, and we're doing the same motion that we were doing before. We've gotten a little closer though, so we wanna make sure that we are aware of the details we're putting in. So just use the corner of your brush to start. And you're just going back and forth, kind of angling your brush to get different looking branches. And these can be as full or as lean as you want as far as like the branches of the trees are concerned. I'm gonna have the trees that are a bit closer because we're gonna see some snow starting to come out. I definitely want them to be angled like they're weighed down by the snow. So I'm just kind of going in a like upside down V shape back and forth. I'm not too worried about this side still because we are going to be putting in the bigger trees. So I'm just kind of letting those things do their thing over there. And our dabbing has kind of turned into a sideways dab as we're getting closer. Okay. I come down to about there because I know that I'm going to be blocking a lot of this off with the tree that's right here in our foreground. So I'm going to leave that just like that. Come in and work on some of these trees back up here. And you can see that contrast is giving us a lot of depth. Doing them all the way across. So again, I know this one is mostly going to get filled up or blocked off, so I'm not worried about filling in those colors. And then same thing up here. And these trees, again, I'm doing kind of a little bit of a downward angle, just slightly. And then we're gonna come in with our next layer of trees. which we're losing our blue for the next layer. We're going in with Sap Green. Okay. And this is where our trees that are in kind of the closest they're gonna get in our background, right? We're gonna have two big trees here, but we're gonna have like one guy right here that's kind of like our closest with maybe some small ones behind it. And then we're gonna put back here some other like big tall trees, okay? All right, so for this next color that we wanna create, we wanna take that same, or we're getting rid of our orange for this one because we're getting closer, but we still want some of this blue. So we actually have a lot of this blue left. So to save some paint here, we're gonna take that same color and just take about half of what you have, and we're gonna add a whole bunch of green to it, that sap green. Even more. We want it to be like for sure green. It's a new kind of green color, for sure green. Ooh, that is so pretty. Guys, I'm obsessed with color. If you can't tell, I've said it before, I will say it again. I love just mixing colors. It's so fun. Okay, that's like a really pretty green. It's gonna stand out pretty significantly, but we do want it to be a bit darker, so I'm gonna add some black in there. Careful not to mix extra color in there. And I want it to be just a bit greener, so I'm gonna add some more green. And you can like absolutely stop at colors that like you're like, ooh, that's pretty. I love that color. And let it speak to you, you know what I mean? And then for these trees, we are gonna be putting snow on top of it, but I just wanna make sure I really like the color. So that feels pretty good to me. Let's get out our handy dandy flat brush once again. And then we're just gonna be blocking in, let's see, we've got a few places we wanna put some trees. We definitely wanna get this spot covered. So I'm gonna have him going pretty high up. He's coming all the way down, and he's actually gonna cross over into our snow. This is a big mama jamba that's like super close to the house. That's the way I would explain him. Big mama jama. Okay, and then we're just gonna take that color, and now the top of it can still be that super thin back and forth, but it's quickly gonna fill in because we're so much closer. And we again wanna come down with our branches so you can see our big mama jama close buddy. Thick boy. And then we just want to bring those branches down as we're going. And you can see kind of the motion I'm making. I'm kind of like dabbing it. Like where it would actually be. So you're just kind of filling that in. So we can see some of the other trees in the background here, but we're also covering up a lot of the white. So I'm actually just gonna go ahead and color this in here. So I'm not worried about the shape of this part of the tree at this exact moment, because we do want to get that first layer of paint down on that part of our canvas. So let's see, and this tree will fill out a lot, but not everywhere. So let's just go ahead and take that up here. And our snow is really going to shape that later, but we also are going to fill in all these other spaces. Okay, that feels pretty good. Ooh, I like that. All right. So we're going to let that dry and then come back to it just to give it some more shape. And then we're also gonna fill in some of our trees, like this guy right here. Kind of inner background. And I'm actually gonna add a little bit of blue. So I'm gonna find like a middle color between these two for these trees back here. Just so there's a little bit of distinction here between these trees. And again, we're gonna do some more shaping as we get into the other layers. Okay. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna make just a little bit more of this middle blue-green color to fill in back here. Add a tree, a middle ground tree, we'll call them. Or a middle ground tree. All right, you know what I mean, I hope. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. And then we're gonna take that same color over here, and even though I know this is gonna get covered up, I'm just gonna do one like little guy right here. And yep, we will definitely shape him in more as we're going. Okay, cool. Okay, now while all of that dries, we're gonna go ahead and work on our closer trees. So we wanna take this color we have here, and now what we're looking at is the light from the cottage is actually going to be hitting some of the branches close by, right? Because this is like right in the peripheral of it. So they're going to be darker. So we want it to be like a dark green color, but we also want to give them some light where the light is hitting it. It's going to be a much richer green color. So we want to take our green, a little bit of blue, and some black. To get our foreground green color. So I love that color, but I'm gonna need more of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some more green. Probably all of that actually. A little bit more blue, and another little pinch of black. just so I have more of it to work with, because I want to use it for both of the trees on either side here. Now, because we are so much closer to, you know, the perspective wise, we're much closer to these trees, I want to get a different brush out so I can work more efficiently. So I'm going to get another flat brush, but I'm going to get just a larger flat brush. Okay, so for these close trees, I'm going to use, I believe this is an inch, yes, a 1-inch flat brush. And we're going to use this really pretty color we just made. I'm going to get some water on my brush first though. And make sure you're cleaning your brushes while you're going. I get so distracted sometimes because I'll get excited about things and I will just like forget. So don't do that. Do what I say, not what I do. I mean, yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's better. All right, so we're just gonna take that green and we're gonna block in where these closer trees are. Now this tree on the right is gonna be a little further back than the tree we have on the left here, which we really wanna be in the foreground. So for the tree over here, I'm just gonna start at the top and we're gonna be doing the same motion we've been doing. So I had way too much paint on my brush. You don't need a whole lot just to get started, right? And I'm just gonna start by filling some of this in. So some of these branches are kind of coming down and it is like right on the edge of the painting here. And I'm just kind of blocking in the limbs of these trees. And it's coming all the way down, so we're talking like to this point. And I'm just dabbing it on again to create those same kind of shapes. And we want them going in different directions, different sizes and amounts. And they're all gonna be covered with snow. So this is kind of like your rough draft almost. So I kind of like the idea of one like crossing in front. So we're just kind of getting the edge here. Kind of coming down. We can't really see the base of the tree, but we can tell we're getting close to it. Yeah, that feels pretty good. All right, and now we're gonna work on this one that is much closer. So this one, big, I'm just gonna work on the shape of the tree to start and then kind of block in everything else. So we know that this whole thing is gonna be covered. So you know what, I might just do that first. This whole thing is gonna be this tree. We're gonna use the snow to block everything in first, but because we wanna make sure that the whole canvas is covered, I'm just gonna fill the whole thing in with this green first. And then we can start building the branches out. And our branches are coming all the way down and across, using that same kind of dabbing look. You know, we've got like maybe one big guy coming down here. And then make sure all of that's filled in first. And you know, this is our foreground, so we want it to cover up a bunch of this stuff. We want these big branches coming down in front of everything and weighed down by snow. And this guy's coming all the way up to like over here. So I want some branches maybe coming down here. Maybe some other big honky branches here. Oh yes, it's getting cozy and nooky here super, super quick. Okay, and then like, it's kind of like he's filling in all the way down to here. So we want that color. All right, and now I'm kind of going back through and giving it like slightly more detailed, maybe leaves popping out here and there. And we'll be able to fill that in with the snow too, but that's kind of a good spot. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so go ahead and clean off your brush. We need to add in some more shaping and detail and such. Okay, so first things first, we need to come back in and kind of get this color solidified a little bit better. So go back in with your smaller flat brush while we still have this paint on our palette. And just kind of come back in and kind of dab wherever some of that color is missing. And just kind of reshape kind of what we're looking at. That way it is cohesive and everything looks good. Okay, and then also if you haven't, go ahead and go in with that second color too that we kind of added in and kind of fill in anywhere. So we're just kind of topping off our background, so to speak, so that by the time when we get to working on all the foreground, the background will be taken care of and we will just be able to move forward. Any blues you need to kind of fill in. Go ahead and take care of those. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is just let everything dry so that we can come in and start working on the details. We're going to start in the back and then again move to the foreground. So we just need this back spot to dry off before we go in with our white, which is going to be our snow on top. I decided to go ahead and clean my palette because it was getting super just clustered. So that's why it's fresh. I got some fresh water. And so here we go with our trees. So the next thing we're gonna do is just block in where all of the snow has fallen on these trees in the back. And then we're gonna pull it to the front on these trees as well, just to shape our snow a little bit more. So we wanna start with a very, again, gray snow color. So a little bit of white, a little bit of black, and some cerulean blue. We don't need a whole lot because this is for our back trees, just enough. Not moving. So a nice shadowy blue for our snow that's going to be like back here. So I'm going to use a round brush for this, and I'm going to go ahead and just get it a little bit wet, get a little water on it just to kind of get it moving, and then I'm going to come in and grab this, pick it up on my brush. I'm going to start with the ones in the furthest back and then work forward. So these 3 trees here, and then we're going to put a little bit of snow on these blue ones and this one over here, and this is where it's really going to come to life as far as the shape is concerned. Now I'm going to put it at the angle of the actual tree. So if you remember, we did our line and then we went across, cross, 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 cross. So now we're kind of coming down and just letting that shape just kind of fall on our trees. Because this is the snow that's laying right on top of everything. So we've got some of the branches, it'll go all the way across, connect up. These kind of bigger chunks of branches coming down. And you can see how using the shape of your brush actually helps you to give it those dimensions. Kind of pull it down, it'll give it that little shape. Have it kind of hanging on the tree there. If you're unhappy with the shape, you can always go back in and cover it up with more of the green, which we are going to go back in and add a little bit more of some texture and things as we're going. kind of going back and forth, kind of finding the shape of the tree as you're going, feeling those branches out a little bit. This is where you're really like giving it the dimension and shape of the tree. So take your time. And then we're gonna move to some of our closer trees. So starting with this guy right here. Let's see, so we just want to start with the leaves, the branches we can really see here. Make sure that if we can see the branch and it's going parallel like that, it's going to have some snow on it. You know, if we're getting a lot of the face of it, then we want it to come all the way down. Right, so let's see. And you're just kind of like framing it out almost. I get some of these branches that are like in the middle that we can't like see the shape, but you know intuitively like, oh yeah, there's definitely another branch right there. All right. And you're just kind of following that pattern through. You know, some of these branches might go deeper into the tree. You can see just using that tiny little edge of it, it's really giving it a lot of texture also. Just the tip of your brush here. Really starting to let those branches come to life. And don't get too heavy-handed with the snow because we like the negative space of the tree. We don't want to lose too much of it. These branches are also getting a bit bigger as we're coming down, so keep that in mind as you kind of build out the different shapes that we have going on. Snow layered on. So you can see as we get a little bit further down too, we can start to see the trees kind of coming this direction, or the branches of this tree. So we just want to make sure we're getting it covered with our snow. We can even go over the edge of our tree here, just kind of showing that like the branch is coming over. Okay, so now we're getting closer. We want to work on this guy over here. So we're obviously much closer. So it's the same concept we've been doing, just kind of larger amounts of paint for bigger clumps of snow. So just kind of starting with where the snow would land on the branch itself. You know, some of the branches are just gonna have the very top of it, and other ones are gonna have this big clump of it on top, right? So you just wanna kind of feel which one is that, right? Like this feels like we have a second branch right here. So we're gonna build that one out, right? We've got a branch here. Got this guy kind of coming over. I have a branch kind of coming out. I think those two guys are connected a little bit. Got a long branch here. That feels like a pretty thick branch. Just kind of filling in. Shape of that tree, and it really just will bring it to life. The more you work on it, the more you kind of let the tree come to life. Bigger branches as we're getting closer down to the bottom. Branches kind of coming off of the bigger guys. Okay, and then we just want to get this last tree over here with our big clumps of snow. So these are going to be, again, probably just as big or bigger. So we almost could start with like, you know, big clumps. And here we'll be able to see more of our branches versus here it's kind of more like implied. This is like we see, okay, here's the top of this branch, right? And then we see the branches coming off of it. We can see them just a little bit more than we could on the other stuff. So I'm just gonna hit in the edge first, because that's helping me sort of see the first kind of shape I want to work around. And then you're just like building it up. So following that same, like this looks like it's probably a pretty big branch here. Right, we've got all these branches in here. So the other thing we're gonna add in here in just a little bit is we're actually gonna add a little bit of the light that's shining on here, which is gonna give it some more dimension as well. So you know, these guys are like totally covered up over here. And so now that we kind of have the outside of this done, we just want to keep adding in the rest. So blocking in the rest of these guys. Finding kind of where the other branches are. Maybe finding like the continuation of some of these branches, right? You know, maybe some of these branches loop up a little bit too. Feels pretty good to me. Just beefing up some of this stuff too. Direction also. That's the great thing about these trees too is, you know, you get to make them whatever you want because it's your tree. So make them look cool, make them look however you want. If you're happy with how the paint's going down, like, go with it. So that kind of blocks in our main sources of snow. Put another one down there. Maybe that would be. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is, that all looks pretty good. We want to start working on kind of blocking in more of the brighter colors of our snow. So go ahead and clean off your brush. We're going to use the same brush here in just a moment, but we want to create a nice bounced white or yellow color. So actually let's go in with our white first, just straight white. And we're gonna look at all of the highlights on these trees. This is kind of off in the distance behind where the light source is, so we're not worried about that. We just wanna block in, kind of like over here, right? So this kind of cuts off the light, but these down here have the light on them. So we want to kind of give them some highlights. This looks like it would get very hit with that white, with that light. And so we're just starting with white. We are gonna go in with color, but just for now. Now this kind of looks like it would be blocked by this second branch, so I'm not too worried about putting white over here. But we definitely want these guys. Maybe just a little bit kind of hitting up here, maybe a little bit up here too. So we're not getting a ton. Just kind of a little bit of light bouncing off some of these spots over right here. And we might have a little bit more kind of bouncing off here. So just a little bit, not a ton. A little bit of highlight on these branches. Maybe a little bit is getting on part of this over here, not all of it, maybe like more in the middle, right? Because that first part is blocked. Just a little bit. Yeah, that feels pretty good to me. Okay, so then we want to do the same thing coming this direction. So this is really going to create some of our shadows also. So we probably are getting some light hitting over here. You know, at what point is it blocked, right? That looks like it'd probably be getting hit. This looks kind of behind this guy, so we definitely want to get some highlight here. Definitely have some highlights on these guys. right? Not the whole thing, but like a good chunk of it. You know, maybe we got some coming here. Everything that's like right on the edge for sure is getting this light. So we're just gonna add that in there. I mean, all of this is 1000% getting hit by that light. This is probably hitting a lot of this part of the tree. Maybe it's getting like the bottom of these, and this is kind of where we're losing it getting the whole thing, right? Because it's hitting like here. Yeah, that's about right. Maybe these branches are a little more turned towards the house, where it's not getting like immediately. So like it might be blocked a little bit, but the, like, you know, where it sticks out a little bit further, it's just getting like the very tip of those branches maybe. We don't know. We're just trying to make it look real, right? Like the middle of this branch and kind of coming over. Because yeah, this is hanging out, but that's getting blocked a little bit. Looks pretty good. And so then we're just going to come back over here and do kind of a second coat just to give it a little bit more of that white, since we know our white is see-through and we can lose, you know, some of that color. So just going over it one more time where our highlights are over here. And it's good to be able to see it as we go in to add a little bit of color also. Just a little here, a little there. Get a little bit on these guys. Yep. Yep. And then I'm gonna go again back over here and do the same kind of thing, right? So we're just kind of blocking in. Where are we getting the highlights on our branches? I'm just giving it that second coat. This is probably getting hit the whole way around it. You know what I mean? Just letting that become the shape of the branch. Also, now that we're adding more dimension and color, it's really going to bring it to life more and more. This is the best part about painting, FYI. In my opinion, I guess. Also kind of giving us layers of the white. And then this is when we start getting kind of like the under. Okay, cool. So now we just want to pick up a very, very tiny little amount of orange. Mix that in with that white that we had set to the side. Very little bit. And we're gonna go over, not the whole thing, but just some of our white. We wanna give it that pop of color. Since our light is colored, all light is colored if you didn't know. And so just kind of highlighting on our highlighted spots. You don't want the whole thing to just like be orange, but you just want like a little bit of orange kind of coming through on this section over here. obviously this is more subtle because it's on the side here. Again, get that under. And then we're gonna get just a smidge more. And we're gonna come over here and start kind of building these out a little bit. Has a really pretty orange color now because it's traveling, right? And we're getting to this orange kind of light coming through. That under piece again. All right, so you can really see like how it's illuminating, and this is looking like we can kind of fill in maybe where it would make sense for some of these other parts of the tree to be getting a little bit more light. Just fill that in as you're going. Okay, while we have this orange, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in our little windows. So I'm also going to make a very light yellow. And so this is going to be a little bit darker than what we were working with before. And I am just very carefully going to fill this in with a second layer. This really pretty yellow color. So now our glow is kind of justified. And then while that is all still wet, you go ahead and set that brush down for a moment. Clean it off if you'd like. I'm going to come in with a smaller round brush. I'm gonna get a little bit of water on it. And I'm gonna go right in with orange around the outside of the yellow we just blocked in. Just like that. Get any excess paint off your brush. And then I'm just gonna blend that into the yellow. Might have to pick up just a little bit more of our yellow. Just gonna blend that out. And just kind of keep going over it until you like the blend and it kind of looks good and feels good to you. I just want it to be this warm, cozy feeling coming from inside of our log cabin. I want to come back in with a little more yellow because that got a little too orange for me. And there you have it. You just kind of keep going until you get something that looks somewhat like that. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna work on now that our windows are lit up is we want to start structuring the inside of our little cottage. So we are going to be working with that same smaller round brush that we just had. And you're gonna pick up some of your umber. And we just wanna add a little bit of this white to it. And this is gonna be our highlight brown that we are working with. And so then, same kind of concept, we want to take some more of that umber. We just want a little pinch of black. Mix that together. And that is going to be our darker color. And so these are the three colors we are working with. So we're going to start with this brighter color. And we're literally just going to go right across. Just like that. And we want to make a bunch of lines going across. And then we're also going to take that light color and we are going to highlight the inside of the peak. So this whole inside of this peak, about the width of your brush, is going to be that color. So again, that's just some umber and a little bit of white. And you want that to go all the way to the top. And then you're going to keep following the pattern, going across. All the way across. And then when you get to this corner over here, what's going to happen is you want it to go across, but then this is also coming the other direction, going the other way. So then we're going to have our logs going that direction. While you were going across, you're then going to come right behind your light color and go in with your dark. So it's kind of like we're implying the details here of all of our logs. And you're going to do that all the way through all of them. Until you get something that looks a little bit like that. So for some people, I know some people like to move faster than others when you're painting. So what you can also do is just create two big chunks of this that you can work with. That'll be that same color so you don't have to keep mixing the colors as you're going. So let me get that dark one made for us over here. Grab some white for this section right here. So we got our highlights and our shadows, and we're just going to keep going back and forth to create our little cabin effect. And then we're going to go ahead and plug in our door. We want to grab some of this light color that we have, and we just want it a little warmer. So we're going to add just a pinch of orange. and just a pinch of yellow. And this is going to be our door. So we're going to have a nice slender, tall door right between our two windows. And so this is actually, they are touching because we are going to go back in with a darker color and frame out our windows and add some details like snow and things of that nature. So for now, don't worry that they're touching. It's kind of like we're blocking in parts of the cabin. Okay, so once you've got that kind of in, then you can keep going along with that same pattern with our lighter and our darker colors. So there's our lighter going all the way across. And then down here as well. All the way across. Dark to blend it together. Such a rich, pretty color. Just going right between them. Then we're going to come this direction and we have a slight angle compared to the other side. But same idea, and we're starting just between the dark on the edge there, so you can see it'll give us the Lincoln log effect, so to speak. Following behind with our dark again. And then you just kind of let those blend together, blend them out. Does not have to be perfect. It's more about getting the shape. And then I'm just gonna kind of let that fade into there. Perfect. Okay, so now I want to take this dark color and I'm just gonna underneath here give this a nice clean shadow. And let that kind of dip just like that. All right, very nice. So now we want to get our detail brush. Our pretty liner brush, and we are just going to fill in some details around the whole thing. So we're going to start by taking this dark color, and we want to give this line right here, we want to make it really crisp, so we're going to line it with the dark brown that we made, and we are just going to take that all the way up to the top. I'm sure you can see already it's giving it a lot more structure. And then we're going to take that same brown, that same brush, and we're going to line all of our windows, and we're going to make them a little bit thicker of a line so that it's clean. We want it to kind of just clean up our edges. So a nice thick line on all sides of our windows. Still using this liner brush, but this just gives us an opportunity to get it really nice. Clean. Nice clean line. And then once you've lined your windows, you're going to go back to the thin lines, and you're just going to do the window pane across, just like that. And you're going to do that with all of those. Again, once you've outlined all of your windows, you're just going to go in and add the detail of the window pane. Let's go. Okay, using that round brush again, we're just going to pick up some of the dark to block in the rest of this up here, since we lost some of our shape before. So you just want to get the side, on the side of the house with the dark, And then you're gonna pick up the light. And that's just gonna go on the other side so that we can see both sides of our chimney. All right, now basically all we have left to do is block in the snow up top here. We're gonna add a little bit of smoke to our chimney and then we're pretty much done. Okay, for this last bit of snow and for the smoke that we have in our chimney, we're pretty much gonna be working with our whites and our blues. So here's our white over here. We wanna add just a smidgen of blue. Pretty good, but it is a shadow, so just like before, we're gonna add a little tiny pinch of black. And that way when we put our highlight in, it's really gonna make it pop. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna use a flat brush. This is a 3/4 inch flat brush. Get a little bit of water on my brush. And we're just gonna take this and run it right at the top. And then pull it down. And we're gonna get that nice clean line on the edge to clean that up. And just kind of fill in. Same color. Hit this edge right here, just like that. So now we want to take this same color, and this is actually going to be blocked in right underneath. All around where the snow isn't quite getting hit. Right, so we've got snow on the side of the house that is not getting lit up. It's essentially in the shadow, right? And then we're also going to use it to just kind of bring some more shadows out this way and highlights going into the darker areas back there. And we're going to use it to create just a little bit of texture around our little stairs here. And you're just going to kind of use it and then pull it to the side and down. And this is kind of giving some shape to the fact that we're up on this like little kind of hilly thing going on here. And our light hits the snow and it's going out that way. Okay, now what we want to do, go ahead and clean off that flat brush. We're going to get a second flat brush. This one we want to be a little bit thinner. So this is my, I don't know what size this is. This one, I like this size. That's the approximate size. All right, get a little water on it. And we're going in with our white, our bright white. And we're just gonna hit a couple of highlights. So one highlight is right up against the edge of our snow here on our roof. And we're also gonna highlight just the very edge. So you wanna leave like just about that much space on this side, going up like this. So it's gonna kind of block in where the snow's kind of going over the side there and how it's getting hit, okay? And then we're gonna use this same white to add some highlights to all of our snow down here also. So we're gonna add it to the top of our stairs that currently have the shadows blocked in, okay? And then we're gonna use it to kind of highlight that guy and highlight down the other side. And then we're gonna use this same white and we're going to get some buildup of snow on our windowsills. Last little bit of white that we're going to use is where actually, if you feel so inclined, well, let's go ahead. We got to hit this angle right here. So right on the edge of the roof, we want that white line there. And if you're feeling up for it, you can start to add maybe just a couple of icicles using that edge of your straight brush. And if not, that is okay too. So then for this next part, we want to grab a round brush. And I actually don't like my icicles there, so I'm just going to cover them up immediately. But you know, what happens, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to use my round brush. And I'm going to take that blue again, and I'm just going to kind of pull it down. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. And this is just going to give us a little bit of texture on our roof with our snow. So I want it blended, but just kind of like, you know, so it looks like it's a little lumpy. It's not perfect. Just kind of blending it out. Making your brush move in different ways. And then you're going to take that blue that we had before again, and you're going to go under the white that we blocked in at the windows. Just a little bit. Okay. Now with water in your brush, but not a whole lot, so get most of it out, you're going to pick up your white again. And we are gonna do some smokestack stuff kind of coming out. So you basically want to use like this space right here is what we're using. And you're gonna just kind of make some swoopy kind of S shapes going out. Smoke does weird stuff, so we're just kind of letting it do its thing. Don't overthink it. And stop whenever you're happy. Coming right out of our cozy warm. Delicious little cabin in the woods. So I just added a little bit of water to my brush, which is giving it a lot more transparency. So that's kind of a trick if you're like, I like how it's looking, but I want it to be more transparent. That's one way you can do it. All right, guys, and that is it. That's your little cabin in the woods. Okay, guys, I'm all done with this one today. I hope that yours turned out really cool. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure that you hit it. I will catch you on the next one.